Very simple. In 2020, I completely relocated outside of the States. I had given away and sold everything I owned. Whatever was not going with me to my new country, I gave it away if I couldn't sell it. I moved halfway across the world with absolutely no intention of ever coming back to the States except to visit, to update paperwork. But for the most part, I was going to be a permanent expat somewhere else. And I had set up life in another place. I was there for 2 years when I got a call from my family, who, by the way, I had not been in contact with. Me and my family had been separated and estranged for almost 2 years before I'd even left the States. We have had a strained relationship, completely strained relationship since 2015. So my connection to my family did not exist. And me coming back to help care for an ailing parent was something that I did with reluctance, mostly because I had been guided by spirit not to go back to the States. The interesting thing is, I didn't think that spirit was actually giving me that direction. I thought that that was my ego telling me not to go back, that it was the devil or some sort of dark energy telling me not to go back and be with my family as my mother battled cancer. But it was God, and I should have listened, but I didn't. So I came back to the States in 2022. I had no home here, no car here. And all the possessions that I owned that I took with me to that other country, I bought back with me from that country to the States. We're talking about enough to fit into 2 suitcases. Other than that, I had no roots here in America, particularly in Chicago anymore. So when I came back, I moved into the house where my mother was being cared for, where my mother lived, my mother's home. In that home, living at the time, was also her older sister. My brother spent a lot of time there, every day there, though he had an apartment in another sibling's building. There are 3 of us who my parents had together. So I was living with my mother, helping to care for my mother. After being there for a couple of months, I subleased a small office space so that I could put some effort into my business when I had the chance. And I found myself sleeping there a lot of nights because, like any adult woman, I needed my private space. But I took care of my mother throughout the day, doctor's appointments and medication. I often spent the night at my mother's house as well, too, ensuring that she got her overnight medication. Me and my younger brother partnered to care for my mother during this time. After the sublease ended, my brother, the one next to me, my middle brother, offered for me to move into the second floor apartment in his building. That second floor apartment in his building, I was able to stay rent free. This was perfection for me. The apartment was gorgeous, beautiful big windows and gorgeous wooden floors. The sun hit from the front and the back. The place was beautiful. I was grateful to have it. And I asked him, why don't I have to pay you anything? And he said he bought the building at a price that would allow him to afford to pay the mortgage on it, even if he didn't have a tenant in it. So it was okay if I stayed there rent free while I kind of revamped myself and moved forward with my business and kind of got on my feet, because we didn't know the outcome of our mother's health. We hoped she would get better, but I did not know how much longer I would be there. Also, the money that I'd saved over those 2 years in that country had begun to dwindle quickly over here in the States. I could pay almost 3 times the rent for my subleased office than I was paying for rent. and a housekeeper in the country I was in. So my money was running out quickly. I did have a business that I literally just closed the door 2 weeks ago that was thriving. My business slowly started to fade out as I became more and more unavailable to it as my mother's health lessened over time. However, I became dependent on my repeat clientele to make ends meet and for me to get over. And for a while, that was fine. After a little bit of time being there caring for my mom, I realized that something was going on around me, but I could not grasp what it was. There was a secret being told and there was a plan being laid out. I could see it being put together, but I did not know what it was about. I was also slowly being iced out of my mother's care. I was being iced out of decisions being made, of my parents' business. And I did not understand why. I had not done anything to anyone. I had not upset anyone. But one day I caught my brother. He accidentally played a recording that he had made of me. He played it out loud in the kitchen while I was sitting in the living room caring for my mother. I didn't say anything about it, but I noted it in the back of my mind. It's been beneficial for me to play completely dumb with my family because knowledge can get you touched with regard to them. If you are someone who knows too much, they will harm you. I've learned that. So playing Marilyn Monroe has been my lifesaver. And I would highly encourage anybody else to play dumb if you're around dangerous people. So I was calculating things that were going on, but I didn't quite understand what was going on. Like finding hidden cameras in the apartment that my brother had given me. Why would he be recording me in my private areas in this apartment? I received immediately information from Spirit, like, get your shit and go. Get your shit and go. This was such a perfect setup. Why would I leave? But Spirit kept telling me, go now, go now. There would be times I'd sit down to drink a glass of water and Spirit would say, no, like, don't drink the water. Like, it just went through the breath filter. What's wrong with the water? And it was wild. But it wasn't an experience I could share with anyone because it didn't make much sense. It was just me and Spirit, and I was just being obedient in the moment because, again, I had taken this trip after they told me not to, and I realized that was a mistake. So I'm following everything Spirit tells me from that point. But when they told me to leave, oh boy, did they open a can of worms. I left when I realized that there were cameras in the apartment. I thought, this is wild. But the day that I left, I literally was chased by 2 African men. The day after I packed my things and I got the fuck out of there, I found myself going back to the apartment to pick up the last few things that I left behind that I wanted to take. And the Uber driver knew my brother. He told me about how much money he made and how gifted I was and how I had something so special and that I didn't really want my freedom. What I really wanted was just a few choices. And he would turn off the app and I should go and have dinner with him. This is a real fucking thing. Since the moment of leaving my brother's apartment that he gave me to live in rent-free, but also put cameras in, and having that interaction with that Uber driver, which I laid out in previous videos when it happened, I've been on the run ever since. I've been living in hotels and in my car ever since. I was completely iced out of the process. I never went to my mother's funeral because by that time I knew that there was a hit out for me. I have been moving and ducking, trying to stay alive and trying to figure out what's going on while also trying to raise enough money to get a lawyer to figure out what my mother actually left behind. I have no access to her business, to her home, or to my inheritance. And I have no idea why.